conversation leads us to something else that is equally as important, which are health disparities, and health disparities specifically as they affect Black women, because fibroids affects Black women disproportionately.
We talk about research. One area where at least the data points to one singular thing is that Black women are disproportionately affected by fibroids. Black women are at a higher risk of getting fibroids and feel symptoms at an earlier age. According to McLeodHealth.org, it is estimated that 25% of Black women will suffer from fibroids by the age of 25, and 80% will have them by the age of 50. And that's in comparison to 70% of white women. Fibroids in Black women tend to be larger, more numerous, and severely painful. Black women are 2.4 times more likely to go through hysterectomy procedures. Although the reasons for these disparities have been unclear, it's been linked to several different factors. What we do know is that racism in medicine is very real. While gynecology has made clear advances for women, historian Deidre Cooper Owens, uncovered how its roots are intimately linked to slavery. And that book is called Medical Bondage, Race, Gender, and the Origins, of American Gynecology. So now fast forward to today. We've heard all of the studies that talk about how Black women's pain isn't taken as seriously. Taryn talked about that earlier in this broadcast. So let's talk about it. Have any of you felt like your pain wasn't taken seriously or feel like you've been ignored? I can say for one that is a very deep part of my experience. Pain, ignored, but also just feeling questioned at every step of the journey. I would go to the doctor, again, doing everything that I was told to do to be my own best advocate, only to have the doctor say, well, are you sure? Is it really that bad? Even towards the end of my journey, I don't want to say end because fibroids can always grow back, but even up until my latest surgery, I remember I had an ultrasound report come back that showed that the fibroids had grown yet again. And so they sent me back to, at the time, the minimally invasive surgical director. And she said to me, let's be honest, would you even be here if you didn't have the ultrasound report? And I thought to myself, what do you mean? Like, I'm doing everything literally I'm supposed to be doing, right? To treat this condition. And you're being questioned. And it's hard for me to believe. I don't believe that a white woman would be treated that way by a physician. And so I don't know if anyone else has experienced it, but it definitely is hurtful even.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely experienced it, which is why I changed my positions. The second position I had, I remember going for the first time to get an ultrasound with her, and she was doing the ultrasound, and she made a statement. She said, "Your uterus is massively distorted." And I said, "What does that mean?" In the moment, I was just a bit taken aback by her statement. And she was just very nonchalantly, "Oh, just what I said," and I just noticed the pattern of just the way she speaks to me is very condescending, very sarcastic, which is part of the reason I delayed getting surgery, because she told me I need to get surgery and I didn't want her to do my surgery. So that's part of the reason I delayed getting it. So I switched my physicians night and day. My current physician takes the time to explain things to me. He listens to my concerns. He addresses my concerns, and it's a partnership. So I'm currently in conversation with him about what the next step is as it relates to getting surgery.
And that's so real, in Kim. I always say that finding a doctor is like finding a partner. Like, you literally have to be on the hunt to see who has your best interests. Mm-hmm. It's like going on a date, I feel. Like, if you're not for me and you don't want what I want, or you don't see the options that I want to have as my outcome and can see a path to that, then maybe you're not the doctor for me. Like maybe you're not the dude for me. So I feel like it's such an individual process. And I love the way you use that word partner, because that's what it is about. It's about, as patients, partnering with your doctor, not necessarily denouncing all their schooling and their education that obviously I don't have, but understanding that this is my body and no one understands my body like I do. Nobody's with my body like I am. So I have a role to play in this too. And that's what we talk about, when we talk about being our own best health advocate. So it really is on a journey and an individual process to find your best partner.
The disparities piece and the different treatment that women, quite frankly, who have skin like ours, receive in the doctor's office is part of the reason that our organization exists. So one, we obviously support being your own best health advocate. That's what we say all the time. We say it on our social media. We say it when we're in person. We say it when we're virtually. And so we advocate for that. But we also can't lose sight of advocating for systemic change, because if the doctor is looking at me differently for whatever reason, like Karen said earlier, if the doctor is looking at me because the doctor doesn't think I can pay for something, the doctor is looking at me different, that I feel pain differently. It doesn't matter how many journals I walk up in there with. It doesn't matter how many ultrasound reports I walk up in there with. Those preconceived notions and biases don't change. And it's the way that I'm treated. So I just think that represents the duality of need for our organization, right? We need to help one another be our own best health advocates, but we also need to push back on the system and say that it's time for some real systemic change.